Backing up your Azure Managed Disks is important to ensure that your data is safe and can be restored in case of accidental deletion, corruption, or system failure. Azure provides a straightforward way to back up managed disks, offering several backup solutions that integrate seamlessly with the Azure platform. One of the easiest way to back up managed disks is by using Azure Backup, a cloud-based backup solution that ensures your data is securely stored. In this video, we will learn the steps to back up Azure Managed Disks using the Azure Portal. Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. I'm Manhar and welcome back to MSFT Webcast. First, we need to log into the Azure Portal. Open your preferred web browser, navigate to portal.azure.com and sign in with the Azure account. Under Azure Services, click on Disk. For this demo, we have created an Azure Managed Disk named Test Data Disk 01. We will take an Azure backup of this data disk. This will be a two-step process. Step 1, create a backup policy. And step 2, configure backup for the Azure Managed Disk. In the first step, let's create a backup policy. In the search bar at the top of the portal, type Resiliency. Under Services, select Resiliency. Expand the Manage section and then click on Protection Policies. Click on Create Policy, then select Create Backup Policy. Select Azure Disk as the data source type. The vault type will be automatically set to Backup Vault. Then select Continue. On the basic step, enter a unique policy name of your choice. Under Data Source, make sure Azure Disk is selected. Under Vault, click on Select Vault. Select the vault from the list that you created. After clicking on the vault name, click on Select. Make sure you have selected the correct vault. Click Next to continue. On the Schedule plus Retention tab, configure the backup frequency and retention settings. First, let's configure the backup schedule. Azure Disk Backup offers multiple backups per day. If you require more frequent backups, choose the hourly backup frequency with the ability to take backups with intervals of every 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 or 12 hours. The backups are scheduled based on the time interval selected. For example, if you select every 4 hours, then the backups are taken at approximately in the interval of every 4 hours, so the backups are distributed equally across the day. If a once a day backup is sufficient, then choose the daily backup frequency. In the daily backup frequency, you can specify the time of the day when your backups are taken. It's important to note that the time of the day indicates the backup start time and not the time when the backup completes. For this example, set the backup time to 10 p.m. Now select the time zone based on your local region. The time required for completing the backup operation is dependent on various factors, including size of the disk and churn rate between consecutive backups. However, Azure Disk Backup is an agentless backup that uses incremental snapshots which doesn't impact the production application performance. Now, let's configure retention settings. Under Retention Rules, select retention settings that meet the recovery point objective requirement. The default retention rule applies if no other retention rule is specified. The default retention rule can be modified to change the retention duration, but it cannot be deleted. You can add a new retention rule by selecting Add Retention Rule. You can pick first successful backup taken daily or weekly and provide the retention duration that the specific backups are to be retained before they are deleted. This option is useful to retain specific backups of the day or week for a longer duration of time. All other frequent backups can be retained for a shorter duration. Click on Add button. Verify your settings one more time, and if everything is correct, click on Review plus Create. Click Create to complete the creation of the backup policy for the Azure Managed Disk. Wait for the confirmation notification to appear. We can confirm that the policy has been created successfully. Change the data source type to Azure Disk. If the policy is still not visible, then click on Refresh to see the updated policy list. Confirm that the backup policy for the managed disk has been successfully created. Now move to Step 2, Configure Azure Disk Backup. You need to go back to the Overview tab of Resiliency. In the search bar at the top of the portal, type resiliency. Under services, select resiliency to go to the resiliency overview tab. In the top bar, click on configure protection. Select the data source type as Azure Disk and then select continue. The data source type is already selected. Now we need to select the vault to store the managed disk backup. If you already have a backup vault, use it. If not, click create vault, then choose backup vault and follow the prompts to create one. Click on the select vault link to choose the existing backup vault. We'll be using the backup vault that we created in the last video. After clicking on the vault name, click on select. Make sure you have selected the correct vault. Click next to continue. The newly created backup policy for the Azure Disk is already selected. If you have multiple Azure Disk policies, use the drop-down menu to select the desired backup policy. You can also click on Create New to create a new backup policy from this page. Click Next to continue. On the Data Sources tab, select Add or Edit to choose one or more Azure Managed Disks for which you want to configure disk backup. Choose a data disk from the list and click on Select. Now select the resource group where our snapshots are stored. From the drop-down menu, select the desired resource group to store the snapshot of this disk. Do not select the resource group where you have stored the data disk. After selecting the resource group, click Validate to initiate the prerequisite checks. If the error message Role Assignment Not Done appears in the Backup Readiness column, it indicates that the role assignment has not been completed. The Backup Vault Managed Identity needs role permissions on one or more selected disks or on the snapshot resource group. We need to follow these steps to resolve the errors under Backup Readiness section next to each data source. Select the data disk and then click on Assign Missing Roles. This process may take a few seconds. Please wait for the confirmation message to appear. The revalidation will perform automatically after 60 seconds. Please wait for the confirmation message to appear. We can confirm that the validation was successful. On the backup readiness, we can now see the status success. After a successful validation, select Next. On the Review plus Configure tab, select Configure Backup to complete the backup configuration of selected disk. The backup configuration process may take a few seconds to complete. Please wait for the confirmation notification to appear. Click on Resiliency and then click on Refresh. On Overview tab, click on Protection Status. We can verify that the data disk 1 is now Azure Backup protected. At this point, we have successfully configured Azure Disk Backup for managed Azure Disk. Let me also show you how you can run an on-demand backup for Azure Disk. You can run an on-demand backup for Azure Disk at any time. This operation is useful if you want to create a backup outside of the scheduled backup times defined in the backup policy. To run an on-demand backup for Azure Disk, follow these steps. Expand Manage and click on Vaults. Click on Vault name to access it. Expand Manage and then click on Backup Instance. Select your backup instance. In the top bar, click on Backup Now to initiate an on-demand backup. Select one of the retention rules associated with the backup policy. This rule determines the retention duration of this on-demand backup. Select Backup Now to start the backup. This process may take a few minutes. Please wait for the confirmation message to appear. Click on Refresh to see the updated information. We can see one on-demand backup is in progress. Let's click on it. Still, it is in progress. The backup process will take some time to complete. I'll pause the video recording now and resume it once the backup is finished. Since the size of our data disk is only 4 GB, the backup process took around 5 minutes to complete. We can confirm that the backup was completed successfully. Click on this link to confirm it. We can confirm that the on-demand backup of this data disk has been completed successfully. In this video, we learn how to create a backup policy for an Azure Managed Disk and configure Azure Disk Backup for that disk. We have also learned how to perform an on-demand backup of data disk. That's all for this video. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on Microsoft Azure and other Microsoft related topics. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.